This incident occurred in 2015 while I was employed at a nursing facility. For the most part, I was a night owl. Some of the older folks would get up in the middle of the night and require assistance. A mug of hot tea or a brief conversation might do the trick. One old lady would sit quietly by the window nightly, and I knew she would be remembering her husband who had passed away. I frequently went along with her. My companionship was significant, even though I did not have much to say. My mental health was really lacking at one point. Concurrently, I noticed that my menstrual cycles were becoming significantly more frequent, happening about twice a month, which caught me off guard. Despite my confusion, I paid little attention to these developments. Because I was working night shifts, I assumed that was the reason. I noticed no improvement after 2 months. I chose to visit the hospital for a thorough evaluation in order to discover the cause of the problem. I was informed by the doctor that my white blood cell count was rapidly decreasing. The doctor was taken aback by this. I was able to keep a career despite having this disease, which often necessitates dialysis treatment. I was also shocked to hear that the doctor had diagnosed me with a serious uterine fibroid tumor. My entire world was turned upside down by this news. It was imperative that I act immediately, according to the doctor. Serious problems would arise if this was not addressed. I chose to listen to my physicians and had a hysterectomy done right away since they said it was necessary. Making the choice wasn't simple, but I knew it was necessary to safeguard my well-being and life. A trip to the hospital for a blood transfusion was something I had to do every few days. Prior to the surgery, this was done in an effort to restore a normal blood cell count. I spent a lot of time after surgery getting my body back to normal. My body was getting stronger and stronger as I exercised daily. It was a long and painful process, but I knew it would be worthwhile when I started to feel better. I was unable to attend my daughter's wedding because I was recovering from surgery. I felt terrible about this. I had finally made it through the worst of it in the 4th month following the operation, but then destiny gave me another cruel blow. My wound became severely infected one day, and I was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. As if my entire body were on fire, I experienced excruciating agony. Maybe this is the most severe kind of pain. Although the doctor was unsure of what had caused the infection in the wound, she'd assured me that she would take all necessary measures to alleviate my condition. Despite the agony, I did my best to remain composed. I beheld my beloved husband and daughter in the hospital room. I did my best to remain composed, but the agony was too much. It was like life was slipping away from me as I felt my body progressively quit functioning. It seemed as if I were floating out of bed when I suddenly felt a terrible dizziness. It seemed as if I were floating in a realm bathed in gentle light. I could feel myself escaping my body. As if transported to a lovely, tranquil realm, I felt a comforting embrace. Everything that hurt vanished in an instant. A sense of calm washed over me immediately. I could see the physicians frantically turning the ventilator's controls and the nurses chatting nervously over the side. All of a sudden, I sensed that someone was standing right next to me. I was startled to see a figure standing there when I glanced up. Warmth and solace were bestowed upon me by her. Like a warm ray of sunshine warming my heart, her figure seemed to be sculpted from a luminous substance. Her countenance was innocent and noble, and her grin exhibited love and warmth. Floating gracefully on her back were 2 radiant white wings, and she wore a plush robe. Her gentle, radiant glow bathed the room, drawing me into her warm arms. I felt a sense of comfort and security in her presence. I recognized her as my guardian angel. For a brief second, my spirit felt free, and the agony and worry seemed to melt away. With my guardian angel's constant presence, I no longer had to face my fears and isolation. I experienced the awe-inspiring splendor of existence at that same moment. Love, I felt, was the link between the living and the dead, even though I did not quite grasp this concept. Is my mom here too? I asked the angel. She said that meeting my mom was possible if I wanted to. This was a once-in-a-lifetime chance, yet I drew my decision out at my leisure. I experienced an indescribable calmness in this room bathed in light. It was an incredibly heightened version of the same sensation I get when I go to church. I felt boundless love and tranquility, like if I were in another world. Out of nowhere, I felt a strong tug from unseen forces to return to my physical form. I felt the agony return as I fought to open my eyes. I knew I hadn't departed from this world, since my husband was sitting by my side while I lay in bed. But as I shut my eyes once again, I was transported back to my guardian angel, embracing her tenderness and love. My journey between the two realms spanned the subsequent 2 days. During my time with the angel, I was taken aback to see that a golden light encircled my body's shape. The illumination was dynamic rather than static. I felt a link to the heavenly light. During this time, I had a profound sense of oneness with the cosmos and all things. In my effort to understand the meaning of existence, I bombarded the angels with inquiries. I questioned the celestial being. What is our purpose here on earth? To find one's own unconditional love and to share it with the world was her profound response. Every one of us is traveling this road. What differentiates us is our familiarity with love. We are all evolving and developing, thus there is no one right way to go. After reading your reply, I realized that no matter who we are or where we come from, love is our shared purpose. Each person's development is distinct. Can I come back to Earth? I continued to implore the angels. The choice is yours, the angel said. Staying on Earth or returning home is a choice you'll have multiple chances to make during your life. My answer was a topic on which I started to mull. The bond between the angels and me was palpable. Leaving this wonderful spot made me sad. My child's name sprung to mind. After everything she had been through, I couldn't imagine how she would handle the loss of her mother. Being egocentric was never going to work for me. Someday I would return to this paradise and see the angels for the second time. As a parent, I knew I couldn't stand by and watch my kid go through any more pain. I beheld the celestial beings encircling me. I'd finally settled on staying put on this planet after much deliberation. I had to show my daughter that I cared by being physically present for her. No matter how much I wanted to avoid it, I had to face the fact that this was my motherly duty. Despite the brevity of my encounter with the angels, I gained insight into the significance of life, its worth, and the duty I must assume. I felt a strong pull back to reality the second I made my decision. Feeling my body, my heartbeat, and my environment for the first time was a profound awakening. As my surroundings grew more apparent, I found it difficult to open my eyes. The hospital's white walls and the hum of medical equipment were visible to me. In an effort to feel my body more, I slowly moved my fingers. My body's control started to return to me as time went on. Standing there, I beheld the physician. My appendix burst 2 days ago, the doctor informed me, and I had a terrible illness. I was fortunate that the medications I had taken previously had helped to contain the illness. It likely would have turned out differently if my health hadn't been so wonderful. I value life much more now because of this event. My purpose in being here is to support the people I care about, learn from my mistakes, and keep fighting for a better society. Because of this, I am more prepared to take on the world and all its obstacles. When I felt better, I was able to leave the hospital. Everything has shifted in my life. I now view my life through a different lens, thanks to this once-in-a-lifetime event. I made it a point to savor every moment of every day as though it were my last. I am no longer concerned over things that used to annoy me. Rather than getting caught up in meaningless pursuits, I am resolving to savor every precious minute. I have also altered my perspective on life. It has become clear to me that no matter how different our backgrounds are, we are all bound together and ultimately heading in the same direction. My most recent checkup was when I told my doctor about my encounter. They weren't sure I would make it, she said, and she trusted my account. I will never forget that event. As a result, I reevaluated my life's principles and priorities, and learned to savor each passing moment. Because of this, I am much more committed to achieving my objectives. Because of this, I want to live my life to the fullest and help everyone around me feel loved and cared for.